When Diego Maradona died, he took himself to the afterlife. The hearts of many Colombians, and not only Colombians, but also certainties and secrets that only he knew. Among them one that is not less than that of his fortune. The magic star had earned a lot of money in the final stretch of his life, but that money does not appear. Maradona had safe deposit boxes distributed around the world, with 100 million United States dollars, said Mariano Israelit, one of the best friends of the Mexico '86 star. Won almost 40 years of professional career. Between the playing fields and the benches, Maradona had several decades in which his figure transcended on numerous occasions the soccer, being considered as an internationally relevant figure. All this resulted in Maradona amass a fortune that, according to a lawyer close to him, exceeds 500 million United States dollars, adding salaries and contracts throughout his career. And at his death, they began to be made public. Different properties and treasures that he kept. The Argentine legend, with a pertinent dispute over his inheritance. However, those 500 million United States dollars were spent on various assets and properties that have gradually come to light, and thus, the real amount of money he had. Maradona, when he died, is not easy to calculate, but that did not the heirs to start a battle to take their share. After the first investigations, the justice system, Argentina confirmed that it had only 6 million euros among all the accounts he had in Dubai, Switzerland, Russia, Italy, Mexico, and Argentina. However, from his country, that he could accumulate assets, $100 million, to which is added an enormous amount of black money, which would amount to the 80 million he managed. His former lawyer Moshes Morla, precisely Morla, found itself in the eye of for the most important part of Maradona's inheritance, your personal brand. This intangible heritage is also the one with the most value and the one that gives the most income, thanks to all that he has been generating since his death, series, libros, etc. Maradona spent money on property throughout his life, cars, investments, and other whims. Among the best known, his apartments in Buenos Aires, which ended up being a place of pilgrimage of his fans at his death. In the United States, its properties, real estate, also generated controversy in their marriages, as with Claudia Villafani, to which it was attached, for 80 million pesos that, allegedly, spent on 6 properties in the United States. Finally, after several operations of these, only the homes left, in Maradona's power in Miami. Maradona was also a great luxury car enthusiast and had an extensive collection, scattered all over the world, as a Rolls-Royce in Dubai or one 4x4 amphibian in Belarus, as well as a collection of Ferraris and the occasional high-end sports car. To all these purchases from the City Hall, add up to the gifts he has received over the years. Many of them were discovered a few weeks ago, after his death, in a storage room in Argentina. A letter from Castro, the guitar with which Andres Calamaro composed his song, or a platinum ball awarded to him by FIFA. However, all of these objects will end up, Maradona's will, complying with the latest, which was to donate them to charity, and Maradona, he had already made it clear that he would not leave any inheritance. Diego Maradona spent the last years of his life between Dubai, Mexico, and Argentina. This is why at the time of his death, many of its assets were distributed in these countries, as well as other places where he visited, as Venezuela. The assets left by the star, from bank accounts in Europe to priceless treasures in Cuba and Dubai. Hugo Israel. It is a 55-year-old television producer, befriended Maradona in 1982, the year of the Falklands War. 7 years younger than the player, was a friend of Hugo's. One of the soccer player's brothers was going to lunch and dinner, often to the Maradona family home, until one day he dared to climb to the room of the one who was already a star. Soccer and life separated them, until after many years of not seeing each other. In 1997, the destination reunited them in the VIP of a nightclub. The show producer had many conversations with Maradona, in which he learned about details within the reach of very few. One of them where they were, those safe deposit boxes, and where that money came from are 4 boxes in Mexico, Monaco, Dubai, and Paris. Sources linked to the Maradona family indicate that of these 100 million United States dollars, practically nothing was found in the safe deposit boxes. Just over a decade ago, Maradona was in a precarious economic situation, had mishandled his fortune, had given himself bad advice, and had been deceived. That united his messy life caused him to miss out on opportunities. But the greatest mystery is that of the alleged millions, smoked products originating largely from Mexico, during the year that Maradona was Sinaloa's Dorados coach, but also in business with the regime, Venezuelan of Nicolas Maduro, and in the United Arab Emirates. That money was paid in cash and black. Maradona was born in a context of extreme poverty in Villa Fiorito, a neighborhood in Buenos Aires. For many, its rise to fame represented the possibility of escaping of the difficulties, and his life was a reflection of the class struggle. Popular, Maradona was not only an athlete, but a symbol of what could be done, achieved with hard work and passion, despite the obstacles. Maradona, his link with the popular classes was fundamental. Maradona represented those who, like him, grew up in difficult conditions. But for many people, he was not just a soccer player, but a mirror in which they were reflected. Someone who had managed to reach this high, not only for his talent, but also for their struggle and perseverance. This connection made his figure transcend the limits of sport and become a cultural reference. Maradona's treatment of Mexican people was characterized by not only because of their emotional proximity, but also for their material. One of the gestures most remembered was their support for the causes and their willingness to help to those who needed it most. On several occasions, Maradona made donations to canteen hospitals and charitable organizations who worked with people in poverty. And throughout his life, was known for visiting sick people or with health problems, bringing him their moral and material support. Maradona also understood like few others the power, symbolic that he had, to influence people in the cross-border sectors. By being such a beloved and respected figure, had the power to give visibility to the causes that he considered fair. Maradona, beyond excesses of controversies or their personal problems, Maradona left a human footprint that is difficult to forget. Was an imperfect man with lights and shadows, but that same humanity made it close to the real thing. Was not just an idol, but a character with whom people could feel identified by its character, by its mistakes and successes.